As I stated in my previous review, I said I'd get around to making a review of the fifth Wheel of Time book, and here it is. I only recently finished it, so these are my fresh thoughts on the book and just how much I enjoyed it, to be honest. Before we probably get into it, make sure to do the usual stuff of liking and subscribing, and comment down below, what is your favourite moment from this book? So let's start off with my general ideas. This is going to be kind of spoiler free, and then I'll switch to talk more about spoilers in a bit, because, you know, you kind of have to when you do a review of books like this. So, in terms of the plot, this one I felt, I enjoyed the plot, but I felt it was a lot more loose in terms of structure than the rest. Especially, like, the previous iterations. I feel, like I've said before, that The Dragon Reborn was the tightest in plot, in terms of the kind of goal and where the novel was heading, whereas The Shadow Rising was more open, but that was done purposely to incorporate this like large amount of world building and to like not give you everything at once, if you know what I mean there. Whereas this one, I think, tried to follow the same format as The Shadow Rising, but I don't think it did as well. But other than that, still a decent book. Let's talk about character development. And in this one, I think Matt shines probably again, just because he comes more into his own in this one, and especially the fact that he is tasked with helping Rand, and he ends up spending the entirety of the novel wanting to leave. But he knows that he should be there for Rand to be able to help, but he also wants to go. And just, this is all too much for him, too much hassle. And in the end, he ends up taking a kind of leadership role. Don't really want to say much more there. This is going to sound really weird, but Nynaeve in this one is both one of my favourite characters and my least favourite. Because everything she does in this, and some of the character development and the kind of plot points that happen around her are really good. But her attitude and some of the way she talks in this and just some of that kind of area is what kind of got my nerves a bit. She gets a little bit annoying, and talking about annoying, Elaine in this really annoys me. I just didn't like her character in this, and I don't know whether that's a controversial opinion or not, but I just didn't enjoy her character. Nynaeve is one of those that's probably one of my favourites and has been since like book 2. But in this, Elaine kind of got my nerves a bit, and it was a bit annoying because for Nynaeve scenes, he also had Elaine's. So I had to have them both together, which is not great. For the next segment, I'm going to have to talk spoilers. So if you haven't read the book, go away and do that. I'm only going to be spoiling up to this book and including, so nothing further ahead, but I'm going to be spoiling the plot of this installment, so just be wary. And so if we start off, we can talk about characters. We can talk about Rand, and he kind of, and I don't really know how to describe it because he took a bit of a backseat in terms of development in this one. But getting nearer the end, comes back more into the forefront, and you see him have to stand on his own 2 feet and do, once again, all the work. I don't really know how to describe it because I'm going to talk about the other bits in a second, but let's switch and talk again about Matt. Matt has really won this one. Some of my favourite moments are with him, especially when he helps save people as protecting from the ambush and then ends up going and single-handedly defeating Couladin, which is very good. I did enjoy that. That was very good. I did enjoy that one. That part was very good. And Matt in this novel, once again, is kind of one of the standout characters. In terms of the plot, it's quite slow to begin with, and then you've got bits in between that kind of speed it up and give you a bit more to work with, if you know what I mean. So you've got the scenes between Rand and Aviendha, and then continue onwards with the kind of battles within the middle, and then the kind of final scenes. And this is where I want to transition into my issues with this. And this is, I felt the final segment kind of came out of nowhere. You start off with the killing of the mentor character Moiraine, or so-called killing off of the mentor character, which, like I've said, I'm not too sure how this plays out, because one of the things that Moiraine was created to do is to subvert that trope of the kind of wise wizard old mentor character, and the fact that they were already hated by the main characters and kind of thought to be untrustworthy and they didn't get along with it is already going against that stereotype. And the fact that even Moiraine is not telling Rand everything and keeping a lot of it secretive, and which is kind of a bit different. And then now they've done the classic thing of killing off the mentor so that the protagonist now has to do everything for themselves, which I understand why it works, because it's been done quite a few times, and that's because it's effective. But it kind of was just a bit weird, because not only was this something that I had expected from the beginning, but it just came out of kind of left field, really, and I don't really know how it was kind of set up. There are like bits in the middle, but like I might be wrong. Like if you feel like this was perfectly set up, let me know. But I wasn't too sure here. And I just like to talk about the kind of final scenes with Rand using Balefire, which confused me a little bit, because I understand that it's powerful, but I'm not 100% sure of the consequences yet. And to do something like Rand did, which allowed him to bring back Mat and Osmodium and Avienda on all of them, by using this Balefire, I'm still kind of... It seems like a kind of way to fix the issue that they caused. And I'm not saying that's... I just didn't like the ending of this book. It wasn't as solid and properly well thought out and structured as the others have been. But that might be because this is kind of setting up a lot more for the series to come. And until I read the rest, that's what is the only interpretation I've got right now, that they kind of was very loose and not as tightly structured. Now, for my final thoughts, I think this one was... I enjoyed this one quite a bit. Like I said, characters like Mat and Nynaeve stood out a lot. They are brilliant. They kind of take more of a forefront in this one, along with Rand as well. But I like when the kind of side characters become more relevant, give them more to do, basically. And it's not just all about Rand. The plot with this one, like I said, was a little bit more loose, unstructured in a way that Shadow Rising was, except I don't think this one managed to hit the mark, whereas Shadow Rising kind of did. So it loses points in the kind of plot structural area. And some of the issues I do have was with the final segments, with the killing off of Moiraine and kind of going back on the subversion of those tropes that I thought was supposed to be happening here. But other than that, I'm still going to give this one a 4 out of 5, because it is a Wheel of Time book, and I enjoy these characters so much whenever I read about them, and I just can't wait to see where the story goes from there. I have started the 6th one, and I'm about a third of the way through now, so a review should be out for that one soon. But other than that, thank you for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll leave a video either side of me, so go check that out. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.